Daniel Mitchell had spent the last 10 years believing he had it all. A successful career in finance, a luxurious home in an upscale neighborhood, and most importantly, a wife who was the love of his life. Olivia was breathtaking, with her golden hair cascading down her back and eyes that sparkled when she laughed. She was elegant, intelligent, and charming, the kind of woman men dream of marrying. Daniel considered himself the luckiest man alive. But lately, that feeling had started to fade. At first, it was just small things. A change in her routine. Olivia, who had always been affectionate, now seemed distant. Her phone was suddenly glued to her hand, and whenever it buzzed, she would turn the screen away, her expression unreadable. She had started dressing up more often, wearing perfume that wasn't for him. "Who are you all dressed up for?" Daniel had joked one evening as she slipped on a pair of heels before heading out. "Just the girls," she had said with a laugh, waving him off as she left. But there was something about the way she avoided his eyes that made his stomach twist. Still, Daniel ignored it. He told himself he was just imagining things. After all, they had been together for a decade. Maybe this was just a phase. Maybe the passion had dulled slightly and he was overanalyzing. But then, there were the late nights. Olivia had always been home for dinner. It was their routine, something she claimed she cherished. But now, she was staying late at work, frequently canceling their plans. And then came the biggest red flag of all. One night, as they lay in bed, Olivia's phone vibrated against the nightstand. She had already fallen asleep, her breathing steady. Daniel, feeling uneasy, glanced at the screen. His chest tightened. "Last night was unforgettable. I can't stop thinking about you. Red heart, asterisk asterisk." His breath caught in his throat. His fingers curled into the sheets. He stared at the message, his heartbeat pounding in his ears. His wife, the woman he had devoted his life to, was having an affair. Daniel didn't wake her. He didn't say a word. Instead, he carefully placed the phone back where it was and rolled over, staring at the ceiling. If she thought she could fool him, she was wrong. She had no idea that her perfect little lie was about to turn into a nightmare. Part 2. Cracks in the Facade. Daniel lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, replaying that single text message over and over in his mind. "Last night was unforgettable. I can't stop thinking about you." Red heart, the words burned in his brain like acid. The very idea that Olivia, the woman he had vowed to love and cherish, was with another man made his blood boil. But he wasn't reckless. He wasn't going to confront her without proof. If she was lying to him, he needed to know just how deep the betrayal ran. The next morning, Olivia behaved as if nothing had changed. She kissed him on the cheek, her lips warm against his skin, and smiled as she poured herself a cup of coffee. "Morning, babe," she said casually. Daniel forced a smile. "Morning." He watched her carefully. How could she act so normal? How could she look him in the eyes and pretend she wasn't sneaking around behind his back? His stomach twisted as she scrolled through her phone, a small smile playing on her lips. Was she texting him? The man who had left her that message? Daniel decided then and there. He had to find out the truth. That day at work, he could barely focus. His mind kept circling back to Olivia. Who was she seeing? How long had this been going on? He refused to be played for a fool. So, after work, instead of heading straight home, he parked a few blocks away from their house and waited. An hour passed. Then 2. The sun had set, and the neighborhood was quiet when Olivia finally arrived. She pulled into the driveway, stepping out of her car with an extra bounce in her step. She looked radiant, glowing, happier than she had in months. And that's when Daniel knew. She was in love. Not with him, but with someone else. The realization hit him like a freight train. This wasn't just a meaningless affair. This was something deeper. His hands tightened around the steering wheel. He needed more. He needed undeniable proof. That night, while Olivia was in the shower, Daniel picked up her phone. His fingers trembled as he navigated to her messages. There it was. A conversation with an unsaved number. Him. "I miss you already. Last night was perfect. I can't wait to see you again. When can we be together for real?" Daniel's grip on the phone tightened until his knuckles turned white. His heart pounded in his chest. She wasn't just cheating. She was planning to leave him. Olivia stepped out of the bathroom, steam billowing behind her. She froze when she saw him holding her phone, her expression shifting from shock to fear. "Daniel, what are you doing?" He looked up at her, his face unreadable. His world had just shattered, but Olivia was about to learn. He wasn't a man who took betrayal lightly. Daniel stared at Olivia, her wet hair clinging to her shoulders, a towel wrapped loosely around her body. Her face paled as she registered the phone in his hand, his clenched jaw, and the darkness in his eyes. She knew. She knew she was caught. Asterisk asterisk. "Daniel," she said, forcing a weak smile. "Why are you looking through my phone?" He let out a hollow laugh, his grip tightening around the device. "That's your first concern? Not that you've been lying to me? Not that you've been sneaking around with someone else?" She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Instead, her gaze flickered toward the phone, toward the damning evidence on the screen. That single moment of hesitation was all Daniel needed. "You were going to leave me, weren't you?" he asked, his voice dangerously calm. Olivia swallowed hard. "Daniel, let's talk about this." "Talk?" He took a step closer. "Like how you talked to him last night. Like how you told him last night was perfect." Her lips parted, her breathing shallow. She wasn't denying it. Something inside Daniel snapped. All those years together, all those memories, they meant nothing to her. The way she used to trace circles on his back while they lay in bed, the way she used to whisper that he was the only man she'd ever love, lies. All of it. Asterisk asterisk. "How long?" he asked, his voice low, but his fists clenched so tightly his knuckles turned white. Olivia hesitated again, then whispered, 6 months. 6 months. Daniel exhaled sharply. 6 months of deception. 6 months of waking up beside a woman who was already gone. Asterisk asterisk. His vision blurred with rage. He wanted to scream, to throw something, to break everything in sight. But instead, he did the opposite. He smiled. The change in his demeanor made Olivia shift uncomfortably. She had expected anger. She hadn't expected this. Asterisk asterisk. "Okay," Daniel said. 6 months. That's a long time. You must really love him." Olivia took a step back. "Daniel." "Sure," he whispered, his expression unreadable. "I'm just thinking. If you were planning to leave me, why not tell me sooner? Why drag this out?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I didn't want to hurt you." The words were a slap to the face. Daniel chuckled darkly. "Oh, you didn't want to hurt me? That's funny because I'm hurting right now, Olivia." She reached for him, but he jerked away. "I can explain," she pleaded. But Daniel was done listening. He had all the answers he needed. He turned and walked away, leaving Olivia standing there, calling his name. But he wasn't leaving forever. No. If she thought she could betray him and walk away unscathed, she was dead wrong. Asterisk asterisk. She was about to learn what true betrayal felt like. Daniel sat alone in his car, gripping the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. The weight of Olivia's betrayal sat heavy on his chest, but anger had overtaken heartbreak. She thought she could play him for a fool. She thought she could betray him and move on without consequences. She was about to learn how wrong she was. Asterisk asterisk. He had spent the past 2 weeks planning his move carefully, methodically, like a surgeon preparing for an operation. Olivia had no idea that every step she took, every text she sent, and every lie she whispered to her lover was being tracked. Daniel knew everything now. Tonight was the night. Earlier that evening, Daniel had sent Olivia a simple text. "Let's talk. One last time. I have something important for you." She had hesitated but agreed, asking to meet at their favorite restaurant. The irony of it made him smirk. Their special place, where they had celebrated anniversaries, toasted to their love, and made promises she had long since shattered. But tonight wouldn't be about love. Tonight was about justice. Asterisk asterisk. Hashtag 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 the moment of truth. When Olivia walked in, she looked flawless, as if she wasn't carrying the weight of an affair. She spotted Daniel at their usual table and approached cautiously. "You look good," she said, her voice uncertain. Daniel simply smiled and gestured for her to sit. "I ordered your favorite wine." She hesitated but sat down, smoothing her dress. Daniel, I know you're hurt, but... He cut her off with a chuckle. Hurt? Olivia, I've never seen things so clearly in my life. He leaned in, lowering his voice. Do you know what's funny? The man you've been sneaking around with, he's not as good at keeping secrets as you think. Olivia's face drained of color. What? Daniel pulled out his phone and slid it across the table. On the screen was a video. Her lover, Alex, passionately kissing another woman. And another video. Alex promising that woman the same lies he had told Olivia. Her hands trembled as she picked up the phone, scrolling through the footage in horror. That's not possible, she whispered. Oh, but it is, Daniel said, sipping his wine. While you were betraying me, he was betraying you. Looks like you were just another disposable piece in his game. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes as she put a hand over her mouth. Shock, disbelief, humiliation. Daniel leaned back, enjoying the moment. I thought you should know. Consider it a gift, one cheater to another. She looked up at him, devastated. Daniel, He stood up, tossing a few bills on the table. Good luck, Olivia. He turned and walked away, leaving her sitting there, heartbroken, just as she had left him. Revenge never tasted so sweet. Daniel walked out of the restaurant, the cool night air hitting his face like a fresh start. For the first time in weeks, he felt light, unburdened. He had spent too long drowning in betrayal, replaying Olivia's lies, questioning where he had gone wrong. But now, he was done. As he stepped onto the sidewalk, his phone buzzed. A message from Olivia. Daniel, please, let's talk. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. He chuckled under his breath, shaking his head. She was only sorry now because she had lost, because her perfect little affair had crumbled before her eyes. Too late. Daniel deleted the message without responding. He had nothing left to say. The next morning, Daniel woke up to a flood of messages on his phone. Not just from Olivia, but from mutual friends, colleagues, even Alex. Something was happening. Curious, he opened the first message, a screenshot of a leaked email thread between Olivia and Alex. Explicit messages, secret plans, Olivia even mocking Daniel for being too trusting. But the worst part? A legal document. A divorce settlement Olivia had drafted months ago. She had planned to leave him after bleeding him dry. The love she once claimed to have was nothing more than a game to her, a strategy. She had been planning to betray him long before he ever found out. And now, everyone knew. Someone had leaked the emails, and the internet was eating it up. Comments, memes, messages of support flooded in. Olivia and Alex were being torn apart online. Daniel smirked. He hadn't leaked the messages, but someone had. Maybe Alex's other lover. Maybe karma itself. Either way, it was over. Later that day, Daniel met with his lawyer. He wanted everything finalized quickly. He didn't want Olivia to get a single penny more than what was legally required. As he left the lawyer's office, he took a deep breath. This was it, a clean slate. No more lies, no more betrayals. That night, he packed his bags and drove to the airport. A one-way ticket to Italy sat in his pocket. A fresh start in a place where no one knew his name. As he boarded the plane, he turned his phone off for the first time in years. No more distractions. Olivia was his past. His future was just beginning.